is all good, it seems, on your end. So
All right, I've got a few new lighting setups.
I think the blooper compilation should just be called Kevin father and son versus the lights
Father and son work on lighting.
for father and son work on lighting for 1 hour.
Yeah.
And it's just all the times we mess around with the lighting. Um, okay, ready?
All right.
All right, all right. So
Five,
five,
four,
4,
three,
3, and we're back.
and we're back. Mind blow,
Oh no,
mind blowing.
Kevin, this isn't just mind blowing. It's like mm, it's I don't have the word. It's in
Yeah,
throughout the series. I've said like each episode feels like a next step up. Like how can this get better, and then they get better. But this episode did it again.
yeah. I mean, I would say, well, I have a lot to say, right? And I've just
And we've got all
rewatched.
the time we want to talk about this
Yeah,
time.
within reason. Although this is the last time we'll be talking about Silo for a while. Um,
Yeah, sadly.
The because what we're talking about is episode 10, last episode of season 2. Uh
Mhm.
and you know, just quickly, there's a lot to unpack.
Mhm.
In general, like if you've stayed with us and not just our show, I mean if you stayed with Silo for 2 seasons and you like it enough to kind of stay with it, like you've had so many questions, and that's kind of what has been so interesting is like this burning, tiny ember inside of you, and you
Yeah.
kind of want to whatever the analogy is, right? You just want to get a little bit more. You want so much, and they just give you a little bit more each time. And this time they like peeled back tons, right? And I'm not
Right.
talking about the last 5 minutes, which I watched this episode twice. The first time I was watching, I think I thought it ended. And then
Yeah, no,
I was in such shock and trying to deal with it all. And then I finally like kind of woke up and I'm like I don't even remember what show it skipped to, right? Like and all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's this show. This is,
yeah, no.
you know,
At like the very end, they show the Pez dispenser, and like this is a
well,
relic.
and
But
and that's the thing, it ends on the Pez dispenser, right? And so now two
yeah,
seasons
no,
in,
I
it brings us back to the beginning. And and sorry, in the last thing, and maybe we can go through some stuff chronologically or whatever, just not to confuse our viewers here. But the um the end of this, right, almost felt like they kind of designed it just in case they didn't get seasons 3 and 4, which have been announced. You know what I mean? Like you
yeah,
could have ended the
kinda.
series now. Not that you wouldn't have left like burning, itching questions,
Right.
right?
You would.
But you gave a couple. It's kind of like when Juliette went out at the end of the second season, end of the first season. She goes out, and so you solve certain things, but like there's always more questions,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
But like in the end, it could season one technically could have been the end. Like a lot of stuff, like there's still burning questions that, for
Yeah,
years and years, people would always be wondering, like, what did this mean? But it could have ended. But yeah, no, this it did you're right, it did the exact same thing. Technically, this season could have been the ending. We still have a lot of burning questions, but it could have been the ending. But
I mean,
I'm very happy that, they've got green light to make season
yeah,
two and 3 and
I mean,
4.
because like the whole, so going back to the beginning, right? Like the second time I made all these notes on this thing, and there was so much stuff happening, right? Through,
Hmm.
but like the more things happened, the more it just started like cascading, right? I mean,
Yeah, no.
there's the like and it's almost easier to talk about this backwards, right? Because
Yeah.
like there's like the ultimate scene kind of, right? Since the end of episode one is Juliette comes back over the hill just at the right
Right.
time, right?
Literally, like a few minutes more and shit may have gone down worse.
Right. And but she just comes like over the hill. And so that's like in some ways, that's the like redemption,
Right.
moment, right? She's
Yeah.
coming back and everyone's like, oh my God, not only is
What?
she alive, that she means so much to us, but like it's possible somehow to live out. You know what I mean? Like there's
Right, right.
beyond, you
And okay, I've got a few things I need to say before I forget them all. One, yes, at the very end of the episode, I was like, I'm sorry. Did this like put me onto a new show that this company has that like it wants me to watch? Like,
right.
why is I mean
What are we
like
watching now?
like we're gonna talk about that at some point in this episode.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, like again, I've said this before. The underground, like the lower levels of this silo, is as smart, if not smarter, than those at the very top.
right.
Like the fact that they could engineer this switching of hats, this they
Like the deception.
made this
Yeah,
this was 4D chess. They made the head of IT basically play themselves into a corner
right.
because all their good pieces are now on the other side of the board and they can't get
Yeah.
to access to them.
So, like even just that, like you could have a movie that was just like people are in a silo, how weird. And then there's a battle and it kind of represents the poor people and the rich people and
Right.
and you could really have focused more on the battle, right? There could have been endless battle scenes, blah 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 blah
Yeah, no,
blah.
definitely.
But that one, that deception, the whole thing. And when I watched it the first time, I was deceived, right? Like I didn't know exactly what was going on. Like
Right.
I thought that they were gonna, but I didn't see, I didn't know about the
Right.
smoke, right?
We
And it,
thought, yeah, at worst we thought, oh shit, the rebels are gonna kill everyone. At
right.
best we thought like, oh shit, the rebels' plans have been deceived or like discovered. But
Yeah.
no, 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 it's not. They let the quote unquote bad guys think they won just so they could actually win. They
Right.
got all their soldiers, all the weapons down in the lower levels. And so now only those at like the top are going to be able to get it back down and, fix the bridge and stuff. But not only that, but now all the guys you want are upstairs.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah. And so now we have, and I don't know all their names now, right? I called the one guy Stargazer. He was like the most recent shadow, right? And he went down and he spoke with
AI.
the
The
AI.
Wizard of Oz, really. The Wizard
Yeah,
of
or
Oz.
the
Like,
Wizard of Silo 51 or whatever it is, right? And then Sims, and then the new head of the Raiders or whatever he was, whatever his title was, right?
mhm.
Sims and that guy, the head of the Raiders, both saw Stargazer talking to Bernard about some secret, right? And
Right.
they're desperate to know what it was, and Stargazer will just like
I'm
he's
done.
not going to tell them, but he's willing to tell them that it's over, right? But he's not telling them the specifics. But like
Right.
even and then when Bernard re-meets, I mean, oh my God, never mind that the basically you feel like the season ends when Bernard and Juliet end up in an inferno together, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so
that's
it's like
kind of
they're gonna get
that's
incinerated. It's like they're burning up the germs from outside or whatever it
right.
is. And
That's why
and
I was really confused at the ending because like
right.
is it just like cut to black? The characters die. That's it. Next show.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
what?
I mean, I think there's some chance that they haven't, but maybe they
Yeah,
have.
no, no, that's what I meant. Like first time watching it, when you see them, get into the fire and stuff, you think like, are they dead? And then
Well,
it
and
cutting to the
and
like
and
supposedly
also
next.
that's clearly the ending, right? Like,
Yeah.
and if you're not paying attention, then or you're in shock, and then all of a sudden, that the anyways. But back to these guys, like there's all these people with like extra knowledge, right? And
Mhm.
even over Solo with Juliette, that they know so much more, right? Although like Sims hadn't gotten to go into the try and say one thing and then I remember, like another thing. Uh,
So many things.
but I mean, these people have all the knowledge of the IT, all like they've got all the knowledge of the IT, and even they have questions, right? Like,
Mhm.
and the fact that they have knowledge makes them actually more concerned about what can happen or how little control they have over
Right,
things or
right.
whatever it is, you know?
But they're as desperate as the entirety of the rest of Silo to know what happened to Juliet. And the fact that, like,
Well, to know what happened to Juliet, but also I think they're trying to figure out what's going on. Like they know enough to know that there's something more going on, but they don't, you know what I mean? Like Sims wants to know what the Stargazer said to Bernard.
hmm,
That other guy saw it too. They're not so worried about Juliet. They're trying to figure out like what are you know what I mean? Like
yeah, what's the secrets?
the more
And
secrets you know, the more you realize there's even more secrets, you
yeah,
know?
and here's another thing that really interests me. So at the end of this, so we don't know what has happened to Juliet and Bernard. They're in the room when the fire goes off, and who knows. But at the beginning of this of season two, Bernard's you know simmering stuff down, but saying, "Hey, we're gonna figure out how to get out there, just like Juliet." And and then he doesn't actually do that because he wants to dissuade the public. But like it's interesting to see like what is season three gonna be basically like season two, where like he has to try to mitigate everyone's expectations.
Bernard.
Because yeah, Bernard,
Yeah,
like
I mean, I can't think ahead to season three, and I think Bernard's got bigger problems than
he's
mitigating anyone's
he
expectations at this
he
stage,
his
right?
shadow just walked out on him,
And
and
he's in
then
a flaming box. I mean, that's Bernard's issue right now. You know what I mean?
that is true. That
I
he
don't think
he he's in a
I
he's
don't
in
think we
a
can worry
whole
about Bernard in season three right now. It's
yeah, but it's
uh, but
what
another
really
the other thing I was going to say is in terms of like even more secrets is is when Sims and his family go in, and I kind of everyone else has gone in, like they've sort of said, "Who are you?" And they say, I'm the IT person or something, right? They say, I'm the shadow, or I'm reporting for duty or something like that.
yeah
But Sims goes in with his family and says, "I want to save the silo," and the AI goes, "Yeah, me too. Now you can go and take your son, but your wife can stay." You know what I mean?
yeah like
Like, but
it's
but also
just
because in
like
past times like all the decisions, at least that we've understood, have been made by the silo. Like who gets to be
mhm.
the shadow or whatever it is, in this case, it's the AI that was saying, no, you can't, we want you,
Right, yeah.
or
Mm. It reminds me of how Solo, or I forget his real name. I'm just gonna call
Russell.
him Solo because it's
Russell.
how Russell, yeah, how his mom, didn't come back up, but he did see his dad before he died, or his dad died before his eyes, but he didn't get to see his mom.
And maybe his mom was the one who went and put a cap on the pipe or who knows what, right?
Yeah, and like
The
and sorry, we're skipping we're this episode we're just skipping time
Well, there's
between
so much,
time.
there's so much
There's
stuff, right? It starts off
yeah.
like in the beginning, kind of like Russell realizes there's a safeguard procedure, you know,
Mhm.
and more or less says, look, you got to get back. And then actually the crazy thing is the rebellion's brewing, and then it's like a full-on rebellion. And then the one half of the mechanicals realizes that the other down unders want to like go outside, so they have to try and block them and all that. And that's just when Juliette shows up. But like
Mhm.
just before that, Juliette's dad has to sacrifice himself to blow up the cut, blow up the cutoff thing. And
God,
Juliet
that
and
hurt.
Juliet and Russell hear the explosion, right? And Russell
Right.
goes, "Uh-oh, you better get over there. Shit's
Yeah,
going down."
shit is that is, you know, that is actually pretty funny, but also interestingly dark. Here's the thing. so that massive explosion only was able to damage, a stairwell, but it was still being able to be heard by, Julia and Russell's
Yeah.
silo.
I guess because
God,
it's
can
a
you?
cylinder of column of air that's vibrating, you know?
Right, yeah, but the thing is that imagine if you're in a different silo and like, you don't know what's going on. Your life's normal and stuff, and then you hear
And you hear some
that.
weird ass sound. Yeah, that's right.
So that makes me think, like, the dangers of being in one of these silos is, like earthquakes and stuff, but also like massive explosions. You like, if people hear that, like are a mystery, but also like that could mean, the death of a whole silo.
Right. But I mean, there's very few people who know that there's more than one silo,
Yeah,
right?
no, that what I mean though is that like, to be like a normal citizen, you hearing that explosion, you have no idea what it means, but you're scared, right? But like, in with our knowledge now, that explosion could be mean the beginning of the end for a silo.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's super depressing that like Juliet like is t telling to the people in the abandoned cell like I need to go back to help my people, my friends, my family, my dad. And
Yeah.
it's
Right.
right after her.
Yeah. Yeah. They're tying
Yeah.
that all in.
And also we've been discussing about like what is Juliet gonna try to do when she gets back to the salad? Like how's she gonna dissuade people? How's she gonna maybe amp people up?
Gonna
How
hold a
what is
sign
she?
up and then she's gonna
Yeah, like it's I am happy that she did have the forethought that like, oh, I need to both wipe the screen, which is really cool. That
Right, because
like,
that's the thing that's the emotional thing that people connect with somebody outside, sort of, right? Is
right.
cleaning the screen.
One little plot hole I have to say is that screen is way too clean because like
It's but it's yeah, I mean, I guess the flip side is since like I mean, I guess it's the real picture. Like it's not clear to me, is it a real picture? And then I guess they superimpose the fake thing. I don't know why they give somebody like a nice ending to their life. You know, now we're going way.
I think it's to just like let them be happy.
I guess, yeah.
And like it's also because like you said, they want these people in the people going outside want to show the people in the silo what the beauty of the world is like.
Yeah.
But obviously it's not. But it's so like yeah, again, tiny little plot hole like why is this screen so clean? Brushing over that. The fact, she
Well, somebody
cleans it and
just
then
cleaned it,
says
right? Before Juliet, like the original
yeah, no, but like the times we've seen the screen before this episode, the screen's been getting dirtier and dirtier because like dust and stuff. But
I
like
I have yeah,
and
I mean
yeah,
I'd
anyway,
have to
yeah,
go
let's
back.
but anyway, like the fact that she like pulls out a claw saying like, "Hey, don't get out."
Mhm.
Like de like don't open dead inside or like don't dead
Yeah.
open it. It's like just like I just like that. Like she like pulls out a claw saying like don't open the fucking door,
Yeah. Yeah, and
but also like
that
let me
was
in.
another thing I was going to say was you know in terms of Sims and the other guy and everyone trying to figure out kind of like what was going on, and Sims was like what what the fuck did you say to Bernard?
Bernard's been having a terrible day, a no good, very
Bernard,
bad
right?
day.
Yeah,
He's had everything he thought he knew.
yeah,
He thought he was going to be the first person in over 100 like 140 years to fail, to fuck up.
yeah,
He thought he'd lose everything, and then he was told shit that like broke his mind. So he
right,
walked out, and then the person who caused all of this like walks back like,
right,
how the fuck are you here?
right.
Why are
But I
you
think
going out? I need to clear my head.
I think what blew his mind is that he's been living kind of, although he seemingly had so many of the answers that people sought, he still had questions, but he also knew that there was a kind of a, you know, potential death. Like he must, he knew of the safeguard procedure. Like he was
Mhm.
living on, like that was that light thing that he kept. He was living under the the threat
Protection.
of a master almost. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm still not exactly sure what this fail-safe protocol is.
Safeguard procedure. There's a pipe. They pipe in gas and the you know what I mean? Like that's a I
Right, yeah, I guess.
mean the point is, as he said, that's what it is, right? Like she found the pipe. It's a pipe
Mhm.
that and they can kill everyone. And when Juliette was speaking with Bernard, they're both kind of saying, "Look, we both know this thing exists and blah blah blah." And he goes, "I know who, right? I don't know if he really does or whatever it is, but there's this whether it's a being or people or whatever it is, right? It's the people that flash the light. It's the person, it's the wizard that he has to serve. That's the who. But he says, I don't know the why, right? Like,
Mhm.
why do they need to kill us or,
Yeah, like
how?
why? Yeah, it's God. I'm really angry with the silo because they're leaving me for a long ass time, and
Yeah,
like I'm
yeah,
desperate to get them back.
I know. I know. I
It's
mean,
like,
when this season started, and I definitely I'm glad they didn't release it all at once,
no, they've been teasing us slowly and like
But you know
keeping
what,
us there.
honestly, is just my own because I've been sick. I got, I'm trying to remember. I think I watched this on Friday coming home. I was traveling, and then by the time I was going to bed on Friday night, I was already feeling sick, and I've just
Oh,
been sick for like 3, 4 days. And I kind of forgot it all. And so then when I rewatched it, I'm super glad I rewatched it, but also like I kind of forgot that it was the like just because I've been sick, I
yeah,
forgot it was the last one. And when I went to put it on today, I was like, "Oh shit, this is you know what I mean? It was the ender." Like I think I was a bit delirious when I watched it
yeah.
the first time.
It. I'm sad that they're going, but I'm happy. I'm very, very happy that, the season, not only season three, but season four has also been greenlit.
They're gonna, make you wait to learn everything for
They are doing as the show has done. They're
yeah.
gonna make me wait.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm gonna be happy. I will wait for them. I'll be like a World War II, like, or like, oh, come back. Where have you?
Not exactly sure what you're saying.
But I'm just saying that, they're gonna make me wait, and you know what? I will wait. I
Well, that's okay, but hold on. We haven't even got to well first before we jump to the ending, the kind of new beginnings, old, rewind to the
yeah.
beginning or whatever it is. Um, there was the other thing about this is that there was a lot of personal drama, right? We've gotten to know these people bit by bit, and there was a lot of interhuman stuff as
Hmm.
partners
Hmm.
lied to each other and then reconciled as families.
Yeah.
As
Secret codes.
well, I mean relationships. I'm thinking also about the stargazer who goes back to his mom, who's just like
Right, yeah.
trying to come to terms with he's going to die. He's spending, you know what I mean? Just there's all this like interpersonal stuff that's also going on. Like there's just so like it's one of those things where you've got these characters, and then because you know them, they can move through certain things or they can deal with certain things faster. Uh,
Hmm.
anyways, that part was interesting.
Yeah, this show is really, really good because it's like a contained world, a tiny contained world. It's so good at exploring stuff and like
Yeah,
these human moments of anger, of joy, of happiness.
yeah, and even over in Silo 17, um, the folks are still like going through books and looking at nature.
Right.
There's just
Yeah.
there's human moments through it all. Um, anyways,
Yeah.
so then Juliet and Bernard get trapped in the fire, and
Yeah.
like all is lost, and the season's over. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden, you're not sure if you're watching like season one of, you know,
Of like some alternate
po-
history
yeah,
show or something.
politics, some
Yeah.
Washington politics thriller, you know?
Before we get to that, I just have to do one last thing. It's interesting the idea of, the burning room
Right.
because, you know, it's always that people are going outside and, getting in the suits, clean the windows and dying after like 30 seconds, a minute, stuff like that. We've no one's come roommate no one's come back in. So like it's interesting that maybe like the fire is also guarding against that, like stopping people from coming back in. Like maybe it's that like, the only reason you should be exiting the silo is if you're cleaning the window or the
Right.
world's
It's
better and
designed
you
that
can
no
actually
one,
leave.
yeah, it's true actually. They've got this airlock, but it's designed that you can never come back in, basically.
Yeah, like in Silo 7, 18, 17, whatever, like that one didn't happen. It could have been, like
Broken.
it mechanic, yeah, broken, like the thing's been like degraded because
Yeah.
it's been exposed to air for so long, we don't know. But in this one, it like burned. And it's
Yeah, I
interesting
mean
to
it,
think.
I
Yeah,
mean there's
cleaning and
airlock.
stuff, but
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
obviously. But it's also, but I think it's also a double-edged sword of, air cleaning and also there's only one way out and
Yeah,
no
yeah, no,
way
it's
in.
exactly it's a good point, exactly. And because there's no switch or whatever, right, to turn it
Mm-mm-mm.
off or there's no like when Bernard went out, he was like, we're not
I'm
going
taking,
back. Well, he knew you couldn't go back in,
yeah,
right?
like he took a gun because like he wanted to go out, think about things, and if things got too rough,
Right. But he also knew that like once had left, he wasn't able to go back in.
yeah, yeah.
So
It's so
yeah,
it's so interesting.
lots
So
going on.
tiny details like that, like you're not allowed back in because
Yeah,
you've seen the real world.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, whole,
So then I was, after it ended, I'm in total shock or whatever. This other
mhm,
show starts,
right.
and I'm like honestly, I remember watching it the first time, and I was just like,
What?
well, yeah, I mean, I was just so confused about like,
What?
I mean, like, did I start this show? What show am I watching? What's happening?
Yeah.
You know? And in fact, because of that, when I watched it the second time, I kind of missed some little details the first time, right? And so it's in Washington, D.C. This guy shows up at a bar or restaurant or whatever, and somebody with like a Geiger counter or something
Yeah.
tests them outside. Like to go in, you get tested. I missed that part in the first time, I think, because I was just still so in shock about Juliette in
Hmm.
flames. And and then he goes in, right? And then it's he thinks it's maybe like, it's is it a kind of a date? And then she's like a reporter. They're like they
He's
do
like,
mention
oh,
well, it's interesting. They do mention the word Google, but I guess that sets it in modern times, right?
yeah,
Modern-ish
yeah. When
time.
I when I saw the Nixon, like in the background of the bar, there's like a thing with like Nixon in it. Like Nixon, I
But
forget what it says,
it's
but like
modern.
it had the words, yeah.
Yeah,
And it's like,
Nixon is 50 years ago, but it's modern, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, I know, but like I was thinking like when I saw that, like, huh. So it has it either has, yeah. Anyway, it's just like it
yeah.
timestamp basically.
Well, not, I mean, Nixon, it's got nothing to do with that time, unless, I mean,
Well, it, something could have happened anyway. But
yeah,
yeah, like
I
the
just mean
Geiger
that
counter and then
Nixon is
the
in the 70s and the 60s, and
okay.
this is not, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah. I don't
Google
know
is not.
American politics
Goo-
much too
Yeah,
much.
I mean, I just mean that Google and Nixon are not in the
Yeah,
same
non the
thing, right?
right.
And anyway, so then you have this like quasi dating thing. They're doing, they're talking,
Hmm.
they're setting that up. And again, you're really like,
Not sure
I
what's
don't know.
going
Yeah, you're
on.
not sure what's going on here, right?
Right. Yeah.
And then, but then there's Dirty Bomb, Iran. was anyone affected?
Yeah, like where did
So
they say the
I've
place
got
got
some.
bombed again?
Sorry.
What was the place that they said got bombed again in America?
I missed that.
I
I missed.
think I think it said something about Georgia.
No, he's from Georgia.
Oh, okay.
He's from Georgia. I didn't hear where it went off or whatever. Maybe they said it. I didn't hear.
Yeah, I think they
Yeah,
did,
like
but
she said, do you know anyone? But I don't know.
yeah, I'm pretty. It was in somewhere in America.
Yeah, no, it was in America,
Yeah.
and the point is that you know they use the words dirty bomb, which is some sort of non like sort of bomb in a suitcase.
Hmm.
Um, they talked about Iran, and but at the same time they're kind of like everything's okay, right? Like, oh, it's
Yeah.
terrible, but they're still dealing with life. She's a reporter. She's trying to ask questions about something, but it also sounds like they're not really sure what it was, whether it was a bomb, and they're not real, they're blaming it on Iran, but they're not really sure,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Like, okay. So, a quick Google search of dictionary: a dirty bomb, weapon improvised with radioactive nuclear waste material and conventional explosives.
Right.
But yeah, like it's interesting. Like they're not so sure. So
Well,
it's
they're not so sure, but they're not like they're not so focused on that. They just sort of hint that this is what people think it was and who did it,
right.
you know.
But we're not like,
Yeah,
fully.
but they don't talk about like how many yeah, anyways.
Yeah. And like so obviously it was recent-ish
Yeah.
ish that like,
Oh,
people are still like using.
in that situation definitely, right?
Yeah. And like it's the world in that world, to me at least, like just for the brief time we saw it, felt like a world kind of like holding its breath. Like obviously, like after any nuclear like terrible tragedy, the world feels like, closer to midnight. But like just
Well,
that
I don't
felt,
know. Like to me it found weirdly like everyone had carried on. Like he thought
oh,
he was
like keep calm and
thought he was
carry
on
on kind of stuff.
he might
Yeah.
have been on a date. He was hoping he was on a date.
That's fair. That's fair. But yeah, like just to me personally, like
Yeah.
it felt, keep it calm and carry on, but also be aware that like this shit could happen again.
Yeah, and I can't remember what he said, what he said to the guy at the front door, but for some reason I feel like it was like still checking or something like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, like it was something about like you still checking people here and like, just to be
Right.
safe or something.
Right.
So
Which
it
is
could have
that.
been, like not too long ago, or it could also be that steps were taken to make sure that, this kind of stuff didn't happen again. Like I'm kind of thinking more like, like after Pearl Harbor happened, America joined the war. So like this kind of stuff, I would think that like said like, "Oh, you're gonna drop a nuclear bomb on us? I don't think there should be in Iran anymore." And that's why maybe he's saying like, "You still doing this?" But maybe it could be the former, and it's just like, happened a while ago.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess I got the sense that it's more like the pandemic, right?
Hmm.
There was the time when you wore masks and you couldn't go place and stayed home and all that, and then slowly people emerged, and this is people have emerged. There was
Right,
this
yeah.
incident. They think it was this, and they think it was done by so and so, but now they're carrying on life. It's still looming, but they're
Hmm.
you know that world didn't look any different except for the Geiger counter. You know what I mean? In the
Right,
same way
yeah.
that COVID didn't look any different. Well, I mean, it looked like in some ways
Yeah,
that world looked
things
less
changed,
different.
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways that world looked less different than COVID did visually, right?
Hmm.
Because COVID, some large number of people had masks or
Yeah.
whatever. It looked
Yeah,
like
but yeah,
there was.
I get what you're saying. But yeah, like we're running out of time. But yeah, no, the world did seem kind of like our world.
Right,
But
and what's interesting is you could who knows? maybe season three starts there, and we might not see Juliette till the last episode of season four, right?
Maybe like here that like I think with this them setting this up, now they're gonna do it where like, they're just like how Juliet at the end of the season, like saw the real world and like it's been and this season's been flashing between our silo and her silo as like the main treat of the season. I think this is gonna now be our treat, basically. Like, like the main silo and all the stuff that happens there, but also what led up to it.
Right. I mean, my set, and I just said it out loud. I hadn't even thought about it, but my sense is maybe season three is super focused on the origins, right? And there's a
Maybe.
reporter, and she starts to try and uncover some, I don't know.
Right.
It's
And
not,
maybe she gets like into Georgia when everything goes down and yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's after what happened. It's after what happened the first time, right? It's
Yeah.
after there was a dirty bomb. It's after that, but we don't know. You know what I mean? Like the world looks like they're not in silos now, but the fact is that she's got a Pez thing in her hand, so chances are she ends up in a silo, right?
Yeah, like
So
this
maybe it's
most likely is setting up to, them going into the silo at the end of
right.
the world.
That's what
Yeah.
I mean. Like maybe now she becomes the character, and it follows the Pez dispenser into the
Yeah.
silo, right? Like
Maybe, maybe.
that could well be. But
Sadly, we are out
yeah,
of
well,
time, but
let's
it's been
keep subscribing, keep them questions coming, and what an
give
awesome,
us
awesome
some,
show.
yeah, give us some show recommendations. You and I are going to be trying to figure, what show we should
What
watch
comes next?
next. But
Absolutely. And
but
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
until we see each other again.
Until we see each other again.